go to settings. Okay. And I'm thinking you might have went in too far, but okay. So from there, you want to you want to go to manage account. You just scroll all the way down past the backdrop.
Hey, who's on Facebook? Hey, can you hear me? Okay, cool. All right. So I'm gonna get started. So today, just like the rest of the days this week, I'm talking to you guys about my different love experiences. And this love experience I'm going to tell you about today, you're going to have to fasten your seatbelt because this one is crazy. Um, yeah, it's a little crazy. Let's see. Yesterday we left off with the person that was not ready for a relationship. Today we are starting off with the person that was crazy and I knew it and still got in a relationship with them. So let me tell you guys why I've been doing this. I've been doing this all week to get you ready for my new talk show that airs next Thursday, January 7th at 4 p.m. called The Love Experience Show. And I really want you guys to tune in, share this with a bunch of people so that they will be interested in coming, joining, and watching the show on YouTube on the channel called The Love Experience. So, and also I wanted to give you guys a little example of how the show is going to run. So, and why would you share your experiences with me and hundreds of other people if I don't share mine with you first? So, this is why I have been doing these lives all week long, gearing y'all up, juicing the wheels. And yeah, I'm excited about the new show. Okay, so this person I met at work, another at work relationship. I met him at work, but he did not work for the same company as I did. He worked for he drove the employee bus. So that was the bus to get us from the employee parking lot to the airport. And hey Ida. And you know, I never, like, the whole time I was there, I never ever noticed this guy. But apparently, according to him, we were at the airport at the same amount of time. um but like I said, never ever noticed him. So one night after I was getting ready to go to my car, he was the bus driver that night. And when I got on the bus, I had a little cold, so I was really not checking for anybody and not expecting anybody to check for me because I mean, I was sniffing and bundled up and everything. But we our eyes met, okay? And when our eyes met, it shocked me a little bit because one, I wasn't expecting it, and two, there seemed to be some sort of connection as soon as we saw each other. So I went on about my day and, got on the bus and rode the bus till it was time to get to my car. And as I get off the bus, I hear him try to say something to me, but I kept it moving. So he held the bus up to say something to me. He opened up the driver's side window and yelled out the window at me. And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Next time you get on my bus, you need to have a smile on your face." And I was like, "Okay, I guess I'll flirt back." I was like, "Well, I need a reason to smile." So he asked me to pull out my phone and put his number in my phone. I did. He was like, "Okay, now text me as soon as you get in the car." I was like, "All right, whatever." Didn't think anything of it. I just got in my car, started driving. I think I was talking to my best friend on the phone on the way home. And when I got home and, finished doing everything I needed to do to wind down, take a shower, all of that, I text him. And he was like, "I told you to text me as soon as you got in your car." So in my head, I'm like, "Whoa, okay, what's wrong with him?" I was like, "Yeah, you did, but I didn't. So I'm texting you now." Because first thing that's going off in my head is, okay, why can't I text you right now? You got somebody at home or something. So I didn't really press it anymore. We talked a little bit and that was it. But he continued to contact me. He continued to want to see me and stuff like that. So I was like, all right, well, maybe there's something there. So we talked. I was part time at the time, so I got off at 4 o'clock, and I would ride the bus with him from 4 o'clock till I think he got off at like 10, something like that. I was on the bus that entire time. I did a whole another shift, just to be with this dude and talk to him. And the conversations were okay. He said a lot of the right things, but then there were things that he said that set my alarms off, and I ignored them. He was telling me a story about something happened with him and some other girl, and they pulled over to the side of the road, and they started fighting or something like that. So I was like, "You was fighting a girl?" He was like, "She was a dyke though." Okay. In my head, I'm like, "All right, I can see your rationale, but that still doesn't matter to me. So I need to pay attention to what else you're saying because you're about to lose out." So I, let him keep talking, and he was, steadily explaining himself and telling me all this stuff. And I'm like, "All right, maybe I'm just being over the top. Maybe I'm being, just extra." So I continued to talk to him, and we continued to get to know each other night after night whenever I was at work and he was at work, and we set a date and we went on a date. And it just so happened that that night um we were getting a mixed snowstorm, and it was nighttime. And I went to my godparents' house. I was like, "Listen, I just need to come and take a shower, change my clothes because I'm going on a date." And my godfather was like, "I don't think you should go out." And I was like, "I'll be fine. I know how to drive in the snow. It's no big deal." And so I go, we meet at the employee parking lot. He picks me up, and we go to the Cheesecake Factory. And after the Cheesecake Factory, we went to the movies. So, you know, at the Cheesecake Factory, he was a superb gentleman. Okay. And, he was very attentive. And it was something that I never experienced before because, somebody being that in tune with me was odd for me. So he was a complete gentleman, and we did kiss, and the kisses were very passionate. I'll say that. So it was just my point of telling you this is there were more things that was happening that he was doing that kept me hooked. Okay. That is the key. He kept me hooked the entire time. Now, time went on. We still were having good times. I was still riding the bus. People that I worked with, they're like, "Okay, are you like working another job or something. Like, why are you on the bus this time of night? Don't worry about all that. Cause I was at a point in my life because of things that happened at the airport with other females that were supposed to be my friends. I wasn't telling people my business, but obviously they were going to see me night after night on the bus with him. So, whatever. I thought I was being slick, but I wasn't. so, so we kept dating, everything was still going good, but things started to switch up a little bit. There were times when he would like get mad over dumb stuff. Like, the first sign of this was how I didn't text him when I got in the car. I waited till I got home. I should have paid attention to that, but I didn't. And just little things would happen. And then always, like clockwork, Friday nights, he would break up with me on Friday. And then on Monday, he would call me up and say something like, "Oh, well, where you been?" What do you mean where I've been? You broke up with me. You stopped talking to me. You called me all out my name. And he would try to flip it and like, no, that's not what happened. You did this. And like, okay, let's say I would say we were in a normal conversation like I'm having with y'all right now, right? And all of a sudden I'm like, "Oh, it's raining outside." And then he would say, "No, it's not raining outside. The sun is out." And I'm looking at the evidence because the ground is wet, the skies are gray, the trees are wet, it's ugly outside. And I can see the rain, right? But because I disagreed with him, that would get him so fired up and we would get into an argument and he would break up with me. So I would go home on the weekends and, I would stay the night with him and stuff during the week, but I would go home on the weekends and I would be like, this don't make any sense. Like, this is crazy. But he would sweet talk me and he knew how to push my buttons. And yeah, we would get back together for the week and repeat the same pattern on the weekend. It was crazy, right? Y'all could tell me I was crazy for sticking around. I don't mind because I know what happened. It was crazy. I know I was silly for being with him, but I was in love. I was in love. I thought, this was somebody that I was gonna be with. I let go of some of my standards just to be with him. Like, let's say I had a rule that I did not want to date anybody with more than one child. He had two by two different women. I pushed that rule to the side so I could be with him because he was just so fine and he said all the right things. And yeah, everything was great when we were great. That's okay. I'm telling y'all, that's how I was thinking. Please let me know I'm not the only one that has been in this experience who has experienced things where you with somebody you shouldn't be with, but you are ignoring your conscience and everything else so that you could stay with this person because certain things was good. Okay. So um this pattern continued and continued for months. And he would do things like if we had a big argument before we got to work, he would text me and he would say, so this lady asked me if I was single. I told her me and my girlfriend just had a big argument. So am I single or what's going, are we still together? What? What, we just had an argument. That doesn't mean that we broke up. What do you mean are you single? Okay, sir. No, you're not single. So um we really hit a real some signs. Yes, we do want to see the signs, and I mean ignore the signs just to be in that relationship. Yes, Nadia, we do. I did that. That was my pattern. If y'all paid attention, that's been my pattern for each story that I told y'all this week. But so anyway, I just kind of, it brushed it off, and we hit a really rough patch, like cussing each other out. Like I was getting angry to the point that I would be punching him and stuff like that. And I bit his nose one day. I just was mad and wanted to cause pain to him for the pain that he was causing me. That's why I was acting out like that. And I do not recommend anybody else doing that. But I'm just telling y'all the space that I was in at this point. I was so like I was beat down by this relationship. It sucked me dry, literally. And you know, like I said, I just wanted him to start feeling the pain that I was feeling. And sometimes, yes, honey. So I know this is not a proud moment. I'm so not proud of what I just told y'all, but it's real. That's where I was at the time. So um and then I would do things. I'm like, okay, if this is it, that would be me. I was blinded by the yeah, that's what you think is love and it's not. So um what was I going to say to y'all? So I would start doing things, vindictive things. And that night that I told y'all I kind of attacked him, I he bit me back. And I think that's it. He bit me back. And I took a picture of my nose, right? Cuz he kind of bit me hard, but it wasn't like it didn't really leave any real marks on me. So I took a picture of my nose, and I think I had a bruise on my arm or something. And I took a picture of that. And I was like, look at what you did to me. And he was like, look at what I did to you. Now he was chocolate, okay? So he attempted to take pictures of the areas where I attacked him and say to me that he was going to call the cops on me for doing that. I was like, I didn't tell you I was calling the cops on you, but since you want to call the cops on me, I'm gonna call the cops on you too. Like it was crazy, yo. It was crazy, and I had no business in this situation. And we were not dogs, honey. I was just angry. So it was ridiculous. We see each other, we're rolling our eyes at each other, but then at the end of the day, we're still together, doing what we did together. Like it was a really toxic circle that I stayed in for no reason. It served me no purpose, especially when he had his little spies, what we called um I called spies. He had his little spies that worked with me, and they would go back and tell him that certain things that I was doing, and then he would either text me or wait till he saw me to ask me like, okay, so what was all of this about? Why was you doing this? Why was you doing that? And I'm like, how do you know what I'm doing? You're outside of the airport, I'm inside. How do you know what I'm doing? But he would know, and then I started to pay attention and figured out who his little spies were. And those people, for one, it was somebody I did not talk to. Like I couldn't stand this chick. So she was more than happy to help him out. And two, like it was just like you want to listen to somebody that don't even talk to me. Like we mutually did not like each other. So you want to listen to her over me, your girlfriend, your supposed girlfriend. Also one time one of his baby moms brought his two boys to the airport to see him. I was on the bus. It was after I forget what happened, but it was after a situation. And I was on the bus. He was like, I'm gonna go see my kids real quick. All right. So she was on the other side of the gate. I could see clearly because we were parked facing the gate. And he was talking to the kids, whatever, playing with the kids, talking to her. And he kissed her. I saw him with my two eyes kiss her. And I was like, oh, that's what we doing? So I'm boiling on the bus, and he comes jumping back on the bus, excited and happy. I was like, so you kissed her? He was like, I ain't kissed her. I kissed my son. No, you kissed her. I saw you kiss her. And he was like, no, I kissed my son. Okay, so this is the game we playing. Take me to my car. So took me to my car, and I would not talk to him for however long. I didn't talk to him. So yeah, that was part of the vicious cycle. And then here's a crazy, crazy story. And all this time, I'm telling my best friend all of these stories and all of this stuff that's going on. She was, I think, at that point, she was not working at the airport anymore, so she wouldn't have witnessed any of this. So I told her about this one particular incident. You know, the guy that I told you about yesterday, that wasn't ready. Well, after a long time and me having these insignificant situations, um, yes, he is or was, however you want to say it, narcissistic. He was. Very, very much so. But anyway, the guy from yesterday that I told y'all about, and I married him. When did I say that? I'm sorry, y'all. The guy from yesterday that I told y'all about, after having my time to get over him and stop being mad at him, we kind of became cool. And you know how I said he's aggressive. So one day when me and my ex was having had a particularly big argument that morning, I think it was, he that afternoon when we were getting off of work, he, now my coworker, friend, whatever you want to call him, he was like, Ash, can you take me to this other building that he could have took another bus to get to, but I was like, all right, come on, whatever, I don't care. So he's sitting next to me on the bus. I try to move over. He moves over to get closer to me, and he puts his arm around the back of the chair, and we was on my boyfriend at the time's bus. Okay. And when I tell you I was trying to ignore him, I don't know how he was driving and paying attention to the road, because his eyes were burning me through the rearview mirror. And I was like trying to tell my friend, yo, chill. I'm gonna move over here. You stay where you at. Okay. And it was not clicking. So I'm like, all right. So we get off the bus and get to my car. And my car was like, the bus was right here. My car is like right here. It was not that far apart, right? And he still had maybe 3, 4 more stops before he could get off the bus. When I tell y'all that he was to my car 2 seconds after we got in it and I started my car up, it was ridiculous. So because he was mad that I was giving another guy a ride, I guess that's what the situation was. Because I was giving another guy a ride, he was boxing us in, so I couldn't leave. So my car is facing this way. He first dropped when there was an open spot in front of me. So I was going to just drive straight through the spot and get out the parking lot. He blocked, as soon as, I'm telling y'all, as soon as we got in the car and I started the car up, he was there. And I tried to get past him. He had me boxed in. I could not leave. So I'm like, I'm not trying to have this situation. Like, what is going on? So I got out the car. My friend was like, Ashley, do you know him? I'm like, yeah, that's my boyfriend. And he's like, okay, do you need to go out? Yes, I do. I'm fine. He ain't going to do nothing. Now he's already acting crazy, right? And we already had our little altercation, right? But I'm talking about he ain't going to do nothing. So I get out the car and I go up. So I'm like, what? What is wrong with you? Why are you doing this? And he like, who is that? I'm like, that's my coworker. But who is he? Why are you in the car with him? Because he needed a ride. What is the issue? We are in the parking lot going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I'm like, you know what? I'm done with this. Leave me alone. Move your car so I could get him over to the building. And he sat there. I turned around and walked away from him. He sat there and he watched me get in the car. He eyeballed us for I don't even know how long. So I backed out of the parking spot because he would not move from in front of me. So I back out. I'm trying to speed through this parking lot. His car was a little faster than mine and it was in better condition. Okay. So my car was a little slow. So I'm trying to speed through the parking lot and I almost hit him because he jumps right back in front of me and blocks me again. This time, he jumps out the car and runs to my car door and holds it closed because I was about to jump out the car on him. And he runs to my car and holds the door closed. And I'm like getting ready to roll the window down. And my friend was like, no, do not roll the window all the way down. Only roll it down a little bit because this dude is acting real crazy. And I'm like, all right, I'll listen to you. So I wrote it down a little bit. And for those of you who are watching that has worked in the airport, and for those of you who have seen people in the airport, we all wear IDs. Okay. So he's in the car, he's standing outside the car and he's talking. The guy says, hey, he says his name. He was like, hey, listen, I just asked Ashley for a ride. Ain't nothing going on. It's not even like that. And he was like, how you know my name? Sir, your name tag badge is in the pic in the window. He can see that. So when he said, how you know my name, I looked at him, I was like, dummy, your ID is around your neck. So he was like, oh, trying to be big and bad and then think about everything. Okay. So he was like, listen, can you please let us go? He was like, Ashley is not doing nothing wrong. She ain't doing you wrong. He was like, she's just giving me a ride. That's it. And dude was really not trying to let us go. I can't even remember everything that he was saying, honestly, because it was so crazy. Um, I know he said something like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna talk to you later, some type of bull crap. So take my friend to the 5 minutes up the street, and I'm like feeling defeated. Why? I don't know, but I'm feeling defeated, and I'm like, yo, like I know he's gonna start texting me any minute now, calling me all types of names, calling me out my name. I'm a slut, I'm a hoe, I'm a B, I'm a this, I'm a that. Like I knew that's what he was gonna do. And sure enough, soon as we pulled up to the building, my phone starts getting flooded by these text messages of him calling me out of my name. And I want to say, I don't, I text him back maybe a couple times and he just kept flooding me with text messages. Like it was like he wasn't even reading what I was trying to tell him. So I ignored him for a good hour or two and just decided I'm not talking to him anymore. And after that day, we still continue to talk. Let's go back to bringing him. He has a whole, yes, he had a whole woman outside of work. He did. And he thought I wasn't going to figure it out, but I did. But I still was not smart enough to say, hey, I'm not doing this with you anymore. So like I told y'all, this is the craziest story. This is the biggest mistake I ever made, was sticking with this dude. Oh, one time, in the beginning of the relationship, I was talking to him on my way. This is when I used to drive up to see my dad and his wife. I was talking to him on my way up there, and I get there. I think it was around Christmas time. I get there, and I'm like, all right, babe. Hey, Britt. I'm like, all right, babe. I'll, talk to you later. I'm at my dad's house. He's like, okay, you getting off the phone? I'm like, yeah, I'm about to walk in the door. So a couple hours go by and all of a sudden I start getting these text messages. This is the first time I saw the crazy. I forgot to tell y'all this. This is the first time I saw the crazy. I started getting these text messages from him and I'm like, what is going on? He's saying, you're a liar and you up there with another man and this, that, and the third. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, what is he talking about? I don't know what's happening. What happened to my sweet guy that I was just with? And now he's acting crazy. So come to find out, he thought that I was lying about being at my father's house because I got off the phone with him before walking in the door. And I was like, well, yeah, that's just called respect because that's rude walking in somebody's house on the phone when you coming to see them. um it was, I was baffled. I was so baffled that, and in a bad mood, because that caught me all the way off guard. So I was in such in a bad mood after that. My dad was like, yo, what's going on with you? I'm like, I'm mad. So I told my dad about the stuff, and I said some things to the boy that I shouldn't have said, but whatever, I didn't care. I ain't gonna tell y'all no more of my crazy snaps, okay? Y'all got the one, that's all y'all gonna get. So I told the boys some things, and I told my dad what I told him, and my dad was like, "You need to leave him alone. He sound a little cuckoo." And I was like, "Daddy, I love him. I think I love this man." Yes, y'all, that's the conversation. And people have said things to me like after the car parking lot situation. My best friend and I dubbed him the nickname Crazy because he showed how crazy he was that day, right? And yeah, let's see. My mother told me one day while I was dating him that she had a dream that I was dead in a casket because of him. And she never met him, but and I don't even know if I really told her all the things that we was going through. I don't think I ever told her that stuff. But apparently she had this dream that I was dead in a casket and he was the one that killed me. And she was like, Ashley, please leave this boy alone. Something is wrong with him. You need to leave him alone. And I'm like, Mommy, you don't know him. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. That's not what's happening, right? And I was still seeing him after that. And I told him that my mom had that dream. And he was like, "Man, this the second time somebody I dated mother told them to leave me alone without even meeting me. Your mom don't even know me, and she thinks she trying to tell you to leave me alone and this, that, and the third." Like, he was acting like he was real upset about my mother telling me about this dream, and that she was not happy with this relationship. And he was like, "Man, don't listen to your mom. Don't let your mom get in your head. Don't listen to her. This, that." And I'm like, okay, this is too much. This is too much. But I was trying to stay loyal. So the straw that finally broke the camel's back was one day I was working. It was a particularly busy day at the airport. And I was working on a lane, and all of a sudden I see him in line, and I see him in line with a girl, and he was not in uniform, in his work uniform. He was in clothes. They had bags. Hey, Auntie, they had bags. They were going away. When I tell y'all, I had to run up off of that conveyor belt. I'll say conveyor belt, but run up out of there and go to the bathroom to gather myself because I was about to lose my job and get locked up all at the same time. So that was the straw that broke the camel's back. Plus, I started to kind of think about all of the things that happened throughout the course of the relationship, and how he didn't want to meet my best friend, and how he was dogging me all the time. And I had to say to myself, okay, this is something that you really don't need to be in, and you need to go ahead and step away from this situation. And I did. It took me some time, and this is, I don't know if you guys have paid attention or been part of any of my lives previously before I started doing them just strictly in my group. Then you've heard me talk about the time when I had to um take time to myself and really get myself together after this relationship. This is the relationship that broke me down. This was the relationship that um made me extremely bitter and made me feel like I was worth dirt, basically. This is the relationship that really just it messed me up bad, because there was a lot of emotional abuse. um there was that one time the physical abuse on both parts. There was a lot of verbal abuse, and all things that I said I would never ever ever subject myself to, and I ended up doing it because I was like, I'm not going to see the things, I'm not going to do the things that I saw happening in my household. Like, I'm not going to be part of it. That's not going to be my story, but it ended up being my story. um and I never really talk about that time that I jumped on him to people, because I am ashamed of that. So let's see. How long after him did you meet? So I'm getting there, Nadia. Give me a second. So I know I'm taking a long time. I'm gonna get there, y'all. I'm sorry. So yeah, so because I was just so beat down by this one relationship, um I had to really step back, because I was so done. I was done with men. I was done with dating. I was done with it all, y'all. Like, I was literally done. And I was depressed for a long time. I was really depressed for a long time. And I was upset. Listen to the craziness. I was upset because um it didn't work out. That's crazy, right? That shows you that that's the stuff that I still had going on in my head, that maybe with us being apart for so long, that maybe we will get back together and things will be better. That's the cuckoo stuff. That's the stuff that I had to work out and get away from, because it was ridiculous. I mean, we just had a ridiculous relationship that lasted much longer than it needed to. That relationship should have stopped the moment that I saw the red flags go up. That relationship should have stopped, but it didn't. I kept going because I was like, maybe I'm being too hard on them. So, yeah, let's say, like I said, I had to get myself together, and I stopped dating for a whole year. I had to stop dating for a whole year to get my life together. And when it took me a long time to want to start dating again, because I just, I couldn't gather myself to do it. Like, it was not going to happen for me. I was over it. I was over, all caps. Like, I was done. I couldn't do it anymore. And even without him, the other contributing factors of men, um adding on to this bitterness and the different situations that I experienced with them. All of that stuff was balled up into one big bubble that burst right after I saw him in the airport with another girl. All of that burst. So this is years of being played with. This is years of um me not putting myself first. This is years of just me abusing myself, because I was allowing these people to do this stuff to me. I was allowing it to happen. No, that I deserved it to happen to me? No, but I was allowing it to happen. And like I said, in between that guy from yesterday and the crazy that I'm talking about right now, there were other people that I was coming in and out of my life, and we just never worked out, or I found them to be crazy. But it is what it is. It's all part of my experience. And I am glad that I am able to talk to you guys about it right now, because this was something that was serious, and it was no good. And a lot of the things that happened in that relationship I stuffed away, and just so other people wouldn't find out about it, especially my mother. After she made that comment to me about her dream, she definitely was not going to be privy to any of the things that went on in that relationship from that point on. So it took me a little while. I had to, like I said, I had to take a break. I had to chill out, and I had to really try to figure out who I was and figure out what I wanted to do with my life and what kind of person I wanted to be in my life. So I took my year off. I kind of eased into dating with someone. We weren't a couple or anything, but somebody that, we would go out, have fun with each other together. Um, and then eventually I met my husband. But before I met him, I was like, all right, God, listen, I think I'm ready to start dating again. Okay. So your girl needs you to listen to her real quick. I'm not going through the things that I went through before, God. So I'm gonna try this one thing because my mom kept telling me, "Oh, you got to go on Steve Harvey's show." Because I don't know if y'all knew this back in the early 2000s, I think. He had a show called Locate Your Love, and I mean, not a show. He had a segment on his show that was called Locate Your Love. And my mom was like, "Oh, you really need to be on there, Ashley. Like, you could do this and this." And I was like, "Mommy, I'm not going on there." Well, lo and behold, he started a dating site. And I was like, "Well, I might check that out." And yeah, I told the Lord, listen, I'm gonna try this site out because I was not for paying for no dating site. Okay. So I was like, I'm gonna try this site out. And I'm gonna do this. I think it was a 1 month trial. I'm gonna do this 1 month trial. Okay. And while I do this trial, I need to meet the person that I'm supposed to be with. And there were some cuckoos that popped up that I had to ignore. And then the main cuckoo that y'all see on Instagram right now popped up in my inbox, and y'all gonna have to tune in tomorrow at 4 o'clock to hear the rest of that story. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed my crazy relationship story. Tomorrow you will hear my happily ever after work in progress story. um, but yes, this is what my show is about. This is what the love experience is about. So I really encourage you guys, if you want to take part, to be part of the show, let me know. DM me, put a comment under this live, whatever you can do to contact me and let me know that you want to be part, and we gonna work it out. Okay. I will schedule you, and you'll get the information you need so that you can take part on the show. Remember, it starts January 7th at 4 p.m. And let's see, you can go to Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube and find those pages for the show, The Love Experience. That's all the pages, the same name, The Love Experience Show. That's what you can look for. And please subscribe to the channel. You could go subscribe to the channel now. Subscribe to the channel. And yes, I will see you guys there next week. And make sure you share the pages and the channel and everything with your friends, and tell them to share the pages too. Okay. All right, y'all. I love y'all. Thank you. You said you need 2 episodes. No problem. I'll book you for 2 episodes. um so I thank you guys for being here and watching with me. I appreciate you for listening. And like I said, to hear the final step to my dating life, you gotta tune in tomorrow at 4 p.m. Okay. I love y'all. See you later. Don't forget, the Love Experience